weird phenomena.
Isn't it
It
weird?
definitely feels that way. Yeah, because I'll $11 for a bomber of something. You're like, oh well, it's nice. But if you were to price that out as a six pack, that would be like $30. So it doesn't. It makes no sense at all.
Yeah,
Yeah, right there
I don't
with
know.
you on that.
So Ballast Point
Sculpin,
Sculpin.
of
Yes,
course. Sculpin is the most common $16 six pack in America at this point. It has to be.
I opted for the grapefruit Sculpin.
The grapefruit's pretty good. I do like the grapefruit. The
It's good.
pineapple, I'm less of a fan of.
I wanted the pineapple, but I think it's seasonal.
And the habanero is just if you hate yourself and your taste buds. It's like there's no beer there anymore. It's just like drinking alcoholic hot sauce.
I really like
Actually,
spicy cocktails, though.
that sounds kind of okay to me.
Spicy cocktails are good. I can agree with that.
Agreed.
All right, we are broadcasting, and I think we are ready to go. Let me start recording. I'll do the intro. Add, roll. This week's Android Police podcast is brought to you by Linode. Check them out at linode.com/Android Police to get a free $20 Linode service credit.
Welcome to the Android Police Podcast, your weekly audio source for all things Android. It is Thursday, September 8th, 2016. I'm your host, Matthew Smith.
I'm David Ruddick.
I'm Liam Spradlin.
And I'm Cody Toombs.
Out of curiosity, can you guys hear that fire siren coming through on the mic?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, well, it's moody. It's adding mood to the show.
It might
Makes
be
it feel
me.
dangerous.
It's reality.
Yeah.
It's
There's a
fading.
lot of sirens on the new street I live on, so
Yeah.
good times.
All right. Well, hey, we got a lot to talk about this week, so we're gonna get kicked off. Starting off with news about Google Nexus phones and how they are not going to be Google Nexus phones. So apparently, Pixel is the brand of the future. Nexus is no longer, and yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of conjecture that I think that the new phones weren't going to be Nexus phones. Maybe they're just going to be called Google phones, or Pixel was thrown around, but I feel like we're pretty certain about it at this point, right, guys?
We have from two independent sources confirmation that those will be the names. So Pixel and Pixel XL. And, I mean, how does everybody feel about that?
I feel
would
like
feel
show me the phones.
What's that?
I said I feel like show me the phones. I just want them to
Right.
be a thing already.
Fair enough. Hey, I'll be honest with you. I would feel better about the name Pixel if it wasn't for Adam Sandler.
Oh, yeah. Well, we can all try to forget that non-moment in our culture. Ugh. Adam
Yeah.
Sandler.
Probably safe to say that everybody on this show and everybody listening to the show will probably remember Pixel branding longer than they remember that Adam Sandler movie, because I'm sure in a year everyone will forget it ever existed.
OMG, I just realized, so now that we're using the YouTube Live instead of Hangouts on Air, we can put emoji in the chat, and also we can chat on our phones instead, which would be more convenient,
Why do I have a check mark next to my name?
because you're verified.
Oh,
You are.
on
You
YouTube?
probably have a verified YouTube channel.
Oh. Not,
Fancy.
well, okay. But it's not my channel.
It's verifiably yours.
Okay, it's my channel, but it's not this one.
You're connected
Okay,
to the
anyways.
verified channel.
Emojis. I'm very excited about this. So anyway,
Hello.
Pixels.
Pixel. So Pixel probably means price will be higher. I think that can be a relatively safe assumption. And I've heard anecdotally, so we are still strongly believe these will have Snapdragon 821 chipsets, and apparently Qualcomm is charging a healthy premium over the standard 820 for the 821. So it would be odd
really
if
hope-
these managed to be cheaper.
I really hope they do have all the same specs except display and battery, because if that's the case, I'll probably get the smaller one, just out
Yeah.
of curiosity.
I don't know. I'll probably still get the bigger one. I would prefer a 5.5-inch display, and the larger battery means better standby life. So
Hmm.
I desire this.
I suppose, but there's no camera hump, right? We'll get to
There's
that
no
in a
camera
second.
hump. It is flat.
We'll talk more about camera humps in 3 items.
In
Yes, many
3
camera
bullet
humps.
points.
Granted,
What-
I am using a phone with a truly epic camera hump, which is the V20. The camera hump is large
Excellent.
and unforgiving,
Unforgiving.
truly.
Yeah, so October 4th, for folks who just say, show me the phones already, it's looking like October 4th is the day for you, Liam. It's the day for you, October 4th. But I guess we're going to see more than just Pixel phones. So there's some Chromecast coming, some Google Home stuff coming, Daydream VR. Can expect to see all that October 4th, right?
Yeah, so that seems to be the plan for Google, is to unveil everything on the 4th and kind of give us the full look at Google Home too, supposedly, which will be interesting. Even as someone who is a smart home skeptic, I do want to see what Google's big pitch here is, especially as an Alexa competitor, and with Alexa being relatively mature now, what Google's going to bring to the table. Additionally, so that'll be interesting, and then we'll see a Daydream VR viewer, which is going to be called Daydream View, which is just something you're going to plug the Pixel phones into to use Daydream. So basically, it'll finally be the serious Google Cardboard you've always wanted. Hopefully, I don't know what the FOV spec or anything on it is, but hopefully it'll be good.
Does this one come with the
Okay,
controllers that they showed at I/O? I wonder.
I've not heard anything about the controller. We know they're working on a controller, but I don't
I
know
feel
if the
like-
controller's going to come out.
I don't know. I think hand controllers, specifically having 2 hand controllers, is like essential for me.
Yeah,
After
I mean, I guess
using the Vive.
yeah, after using the Vive, of course, you want the hand controllers, but Google's hand controllers, there's no.
They
I
don't
think-
have spatial awareness.
Yeah, so I think there's less of a need for it. If it had spatial awareness,
Wait, they don't?
why would they?
Well,
Well,
they
I mean,
can't do like precise 3D stuff.
They can
I
be
don't
like
think-
directional, I think.
I don't think they could even do like Wii level of precision, and that's
No, they can
not asking much.
They can tell when you like twist them or rotate them or whatever.
Well, yeah, they've got gyroscopes. They've got, I assume, a couple of other things, but I don't think they can tell like where they are in relation to each other,
I guess I didn't think about that.
or where they are in relation to the viewer, which is way more important.
Is that why
So-
the Vive needs those Sentinel things?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the cubes are for positioning, and yeah, they're extremely important to that feature. So it would make sense.
It can triangulate the location of the 2 hand sticks, controllers, whatever, plus the Vive that you're wearing on your face. So that's how you can hold your hand like out in front of your face and see it.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
In that case, I guess I don't care about the controllers that much.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm curious about the 4K Chromecast. I don't know why, but I want them to announce something, anything more than just that it's 4K. And I want to see.
What would they
Google.
announce? Just out of curiosity, what
I
can
haven't
make the
got a
Chromecast
clue.
better?
I haven't got any clue. I don't know. There's been weird rumors about other features that could come to Chromecast. I want to see, which is not what they're going to do, but I still want to see Android TV running in the background. I think that's easily the best solution. But yeah, I don't know. I just want something more than just 4K to be the thing. Like I'm terrified they're going to get up on stage and be like, "We're going to spend the next 4 minutes telling you that there's a 4K Chromecast. We're selling it for this. All right, we're done. Thanks. Bye."
I would like
even if you
to-
shape,
I would like to have an option to cast video but not audio. Kind of like
I
the
feel like
kind of like
there
the
might
new.
be an app for that.
What's that?
There might be an app for that,
Is there?
or the mute button.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what is wrong with the mute function?
No, because mute means you can't hear it anywhere. I am actually I went out and replaced my Roku streaming stick with the new Roku streaming stick because it had the listen to audio on your phone option. So I have a relatively small house. I have TVs that are near my kids' bedrooms, and sometimes I like to watch movies at night that are loud. So if I could just throw headphones on, that solves the problem.
Well, okay.
Okay.
I realize that's
Bluetooth
pretty,
headphones.
but
I mean, you could basically the Chromecast app should have a headphone option. But okay, actually, I talked to them about this last year when they launched the new Chromecast, and I was like, so why can't you guys do like the headphone thing with Chromecast? And they said it's really, really hard to get the audio and video to sync. With the phone doing one thing and the Chromecast dongle doing another thing by itself, it's really hard to get those to mesh. You would probably have to have the Chromecast send audio back to the phone some way, but that would obviously be complicated too. Otherwise, they'd have to be communicating in real time.
I will say the Roku streaming stick. The Roku streaming stick actually does a pretty darn good job of it. So
yeah, because it's over. It uses Wi-Fi direct connection in the box to keep everything synced up. Yeah.
Well, that's what they could do it. That's what they could do.
Because I think that's how the remote for Shield TV works for Android TV as well.
And that would make sense because the remote for the Roku 3 did that automatically. So obviously they figured out a solution, and it was just a matter of building it in natively on a phone. So they've been thinking about a hardware solution for that for a while, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. But the thing we haven't heard about from any of our sources about this October 4th event are the new watches, which we understood originally to be kind of part of Google's new line of things that they wanted to show people, but maybe they were delayed for one reason or another. It seems like smartwatches get delayed a lot. Like it's a recurring theme. So
I don't really understand why these would exist anyway. I'm still kind of
Pixel, Liam. You have to have the unified brand product front.
Yeah, but aren't watches different because Google says what the watches are in the first place?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, unless they want to utilize some kind of specific functionality that the Pixel phones would have that other Android phones wouldn't, but I don't know what that would even be. And that would further confuse the ecosystem of Android Wear.
Yeah.
Maybe they could serve as controllers for hand gestures on the Daydream VR.
There you go.
Maybe we'll add a headphone jack.
So you have to buy them in a pair.
God.
You have to buy
to a watch. I'm surprised there's not a watch out there that has that.
That's actually a good point. That seems like a totally Samsung thing to do.
It does. Samsung is going to add a headphone jack to the Gear S4 just to spite Apple.
So I know it is in no way, shape, or form actually relevant to when a product is going to come out, but they still have a couple of milestones to do on the developer previews for Wear 2.0. So if they were going to launch them in October, they could announce them and not actually sell them yet, but if they launched them then, it'd be kind of a weird timing thing. They'd come out and be like running developer previews for the next month and a half.
I don't know why. I feel like the watches are just going to show up on the Google Store someday.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, if you want them, you'll figure out they exist. It won't be an issue. So that is true.
All right, so let's talk about one device that won't be getting announced for sure on October 4th is anything having to do with Project Ara, because apparently Project Ara is no longer what you would consider a project. It's more of a fond memory, maybe.
Depends on who you
Might
ask.
be pushing it.
Well, look, it has really neat technology and technology that totally has a place in the world. Unfortunately, they decided that they wanted to use that technology to build a phone, and that was a terrible, terrible idea.
Also,
Hope in the market.
like, I'm not really surprised by this, not only because of that, but also because they like explicitly said in multiple videos that like if we don't get it done by X time, it's going to be canceled. And then those times passed by like a year plus, so it was like a way overdue for being canceled. Anyways,
And you know what? I feel like they might have been hanging on to the idea of it and watching other companies just fail epically at the whole modular idea. And maybe that is what finally pushed them over the edge.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I think that Liam's probably right that it was well beyond the age it should have been. I feel like it's one of those things where ATAP basically probably didn't have much, high-level oversight at Google, and were kind of left to their own devices. And I would not be surprised if the Ara team in particular was, very defensive of what they were working on and didn't want it to be canceled until somebody finally came in and said, "Yeah, it's done."
their own devices.
Yes.
See
So
what you did there.
left to their own modules. So I mean I think that yeah, like Cody said, there would be better places to put this kind of technological effort. A smartphone doesn't seem like the best use of those resources. It's not like people are so deeply unhappy with the current situation with smartphones that upgradability is this, if you were to tell anything resembling the average consumer that, hey, what if you could buy a smartphone and you could replace the processor or the RAM, their eyes will
The
just
what?
glaze over, and then they'll say, but does the new iPhone headphone jack?
Does
What?
does it have more GBs?
More GBs.
Yeah, and like the scope was insanely broad,
Yeah.
and it became more narrow, but not narrow enough, in my opinion, to like find an actual home.
So I just want to point out that two of you have said that this is cool technology and it should have been used elsewhere. Where?
Chromebooks? I don't know.
Chromebook, modular Chrome. I want a modular flashlight. That's what I want.
I think there are probably opportunities for a much more limited scope, like one or two components that can be switched out in
Yeah.
certain devices for certain cases, but not like let's swap everything and make it a smartphone.
Yeah, the potential for this has always been to take an existing device that is fully functioning or mostly fully functioning and trade out one or two core things or add on one or two core things. This is really good version of plug and play. Do you want to the modularity thing that's going on in phones right now is bad because the implementations are terrible. It's not because modularity can't be a good thing. It's that you've got modules that don't fit, or you have modules that don't work or don't do anything.
I don't
That's
think
the
we've even
or
seen
they
a
just cost
modular
too much.
phone.
Yeah, the modules that we have right now.
They're kind of just accessories that connect. I don't consider that a module.
Yeah. Well, they're modular in form factor ish.
If you don't think about it.
Yeah, if you don't push too hard.
Yes, if you suck down the marketing Kool-Aid, these phones are very modular. So, yeah.
Speaking of marketing Kool-Aid,
Oh, yes.
our next topic.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes, like Ara, that subject's dead now.
so, obviously this is an Android podcast, but the big announcement in the phone world this week was the iPhone 7. And I think we'd be remiss if we didn't visit on that a little bit. So iPhone 7 officially announced yesterday. I think releases next week, if I remember correctly. And the long-rumored removal of the headphone jack has occurred.
It has indeed. Is the solution viable or sensible? in a sense outside of selling additional accessories? And in addition to that, is it courageous?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get off the courageous suggestion. Yeah, that
That
was.
was Apple says a lot of things, okay, but
I have
that
to
was
wonder if
like
that was
unbelievable.
on the teleprompter, or if Phil Schiller just decided, you know what, I'm gonna go full troll.
That was Apple's presentations very rarely surprise me, but that surprised me.
We were very courageous in the sense that we know this is going to piss off our customers and maybe scare investors, but we
We
had
have
the
the
courage
courage
to believe
to
it
make
was
a
going to
ton of
make
money.
money anyway. Oh.
We have the courage to sell earbuds for $160.
Great.
Yeah, those AirPods. I mean, don't get me wrong. From a technological design standpoint, they are impressive. They aren't the first fully standalone earbuds, but they will be the first mass market ones without a doubt. I'm guessing they'll be pretty decent too. Apple's original EarPods, the high end Apple branded earphones, are pretty good. If you can stand the fit. A lot of people don't like the way they fit, myself included.
And
But
these, by the way, look like they're going to fit exactly the same.
yeah,
Yes.
so
Even
I mean,
six
some people
included.
like them that way though. And Samsung's in-box earphones or the Galaxy S7 were very similar to the EarPods, which I found very annoying. But I think that the headphone jack thing is, given how many people expected it, and the fact that Apple includes the adapter in the box, I think that Apple is going to still make, even though they're only $9, a lot of money selling those adapters because those things have to cost nothing to make. Maybe like 25 cents.
Or if you want to charge your phone and listen to music, you can pay $40 for a dongle that has 2 ports.
Oh yes, that's yes. We've
Apple
fixed
So
the
good.
problem of being able to charge and listen to music at the same time by
We
creating a
created
problem
and fixed the problem.
of a dongle. Yeah,
All in one
dongles
step.
for everything. Dongles on dongles.
So I would like to
Gone
point
on.
out. So I have a 2016 GMC vehicle with the just stock like entertainment, infotainment, whatever you want to call it, system built into it, and it has Bluetooth built in. But for some reason, in their infinite wisdom, they decided to build it such that the Bluetooth only supported phone calls and not audio. So literally the first thing I do when I get in my car every single time is plug an aux cable and a USB in. It's the first thing I do every time I get in my car.
Well,
So when they announced the what made it official, my first thought was like, oh my God, like literally this would make this phone unusable for me 3 to 5 times a day.
Well, they're just going to sell
Apparently,
they're going to sell the adapters, and people will buy them. They
Yep.
just, well, I need an adapter for the car. Oh, I need an adapter for work. Oh, I need an adapter leaving the gym locker.
which feels suspiciously like a step backwards.
It does. That's it's
Yeah.
almost odd how counterintuitive and cumbersome this seems as a solution. But in Apple's world, everybody is using Bluetooth. I admit, Bluetooth in the car beats the hell out of using wires. That and aux in on most cars sounds terrible because the amplifiers aren't usually set up right for the sources. But I would say outside the car, though, that Bluetooth only really has a high penetration among certain market segments, and that most people I see with iPhones are using the bundled earbuds that come with the damn phone. They aren't buying Bluetooth headphones. They aren't interested. And Bluetooth headphones aren't a very good technology. They're just not that great.
That is
They serve certain
so-
purposes, but they're not good.
So if we can go back to the earphones that are in the box, I agree. I see a lot of people use stock Apple earphones, but here's the thing: is I see them use them everywhere, not just in iPhones. So, like, obviously, I work in a call center. A lot of people like to listen to music when they're working on things off the phone, and they've got it plugged into their computer. But here's the thing: is they give you the Lightning cable earphones that you can use on nothing else. Like, you can't use it anywhere else.
Yep.
Yeah, and
And
so
I
that'll
actually
be fun.
bought a separate pair of earpods to listen to music myself.
Oh, yeah.
Not.
So, but Apple obviously won't sell a Lightning to 3.5 millimeter female cable that goes from Lightning female to 3.5 millimeter male, because there'd obviously be no need for that to exist, right?
No.
Nobody would want to use their Apple earphones with a non-Apple
For-
product. That would be absurd.
But wait a second.
Analog
Wait a
old
second.
devices.
Do MacBooks have Lightning ports on it?
No.
Just going to bring it up. They
Yeah,
haven't
so
yet.
USB-C, right?
It's even their own products they can't use it with.
Yeah, but no, Matt, you can buy the AirPods. They'll work magically with all of your Apple devices. They'll just know.
Well,
For
They're
$160.
$160.
That's the price of magic these days.
my big question is, what happens with the next MacBook? Are they going to leave in a standard audio port?
Oh,
Yeah,
that would be
kind of
very
have
surprising if
to.
they
I mean, it
If
would be insanity if they. And on the other side, if they're going to put out a product a month after their iPhone that's going to have no lightning connector for audio,
Yeah.
it's Apple's way of basically, or people will look at it as Apple's way of saying, yeah, we don't actually believe in the thing we just did. Really painted themselves into a bad spot with this.
honestly, I mean, I can't imagine that they would release the MacBook Pro without an audio jack, right? And if they do, then I don't know what I'm going to do for a laptop.
That'd be silly
Yeah.
because
So-
professionals use those for audio mixing, and they want a headphone
And professionals
jack.
are using analog old devices.
Yes, they are.
So
According
here's
to
the,
Apple.
so here's the
Professionals
thing.
will, if anything, demand USB-C.
Yeah, if it would have been a USB Type-C connector in the bottom of the iPhone and it's on this, then okay, well the MacBooks come with USB Type-C connectors. So, okay, we have that solution going forward. Those headphones now work, but it's Lightning. And they haven't built Lightning into anything that isn't an iOS device. I don't know. Just seems weird. And also, can we also talk about the fact that they removed it to make space and then they added a camera bump?
Yeah, the camera bump, I mean, that's probably what it is just because of the optics and the fact that they want to make the damn thing thinner every generation. So, but that camera hump is definitely substantial.
So I would just like to point out, if they would have made it a millimeter thicker, it could have had no camera bump, it could have had a headphone jack, and it could have had a bigger battery. And I guarantee you not a single person would have complained.
Well, I mean, somebody would complain about something.
Johnny
but
Ive
yeah.
would have complained.
Yes.
Yes.
Johnny Ive would have been very upset.
Well, they have a whole bunch of accountants who would complain endlessly that they're not making that new Lightning cable money.
Yeah, I'm sure. And yeah, it's true. Apple hasn't really leveraged Lightning in the accessory market nearly as much as I think people thought they would. And this is the push now. Lightning headphones. Although I will be curious to see what accessory partners do. And I'm guessing Apple originally, I think, envisioned Lightning as being a way to transition to high-end digital audio, where digital audio is transmitted over the Lightning cable to a fancy pair of headphones that have their own decoding hardware and also have active noise cancellation and all this other fancy stuff and features that people will pay an obscene amount of money for. Whereas the reality is probably everybody's going to use the analog mode, where the Lightning connector is just a simple, adapter for standard analog signal to regular analog headphones. And Apple probably won't make as much money on the royalties for those, because there's no way you're going to get, like, say, Panasonic, who makes the most popular $10 earbuds on Amazon, to pay a chunky Lightning cable licensing fee just to sell Lightning headphones. So I would not be surprised if Apple has to update its royalties model for analog audio only Lightning devices, because the headphone market's very cutthroat on pricing.
Honestly, though, like, I feel like a lot of just average iPhone users will look at those Panasonics and they're going to feel like they can't even buy them. Like, I can't even buy those. I have to now buy a Lightning connected headphone. And I don't know, like, I feel like a lot of people are just going to feel forced to buy things because they're just not going to want to keep track. So the one of the big comments that I've heard lately is like, well, I never plug headphones into my phone anyway, so it doesn't matter. And I actually think that's kind of worse, right? Because nobody never does it. Nobody has never once ever plugged headphones into their device.
All right, Matt,
And
we're about to hear from that person. They're live on the line.
well, I'm going to be honest with you. They're a liar because they have
Even
at some point in time they have. And here's the thing: is when that time comes, you're not going to have the adapter with you because you never need it. You've never ever going to need this adapter, so you're not going to have it.
also, even if somebody legitimately has never plugged headphones into their phone, one person's subjective experience is not an accurate sample for anything ever. Right. So, also, I don't. Maybe I'm like taking this too deeply, but it seems like this, like combined with the part of the keynote where Tim Cook was saying like many developers develop only for iOS, and that's great. Like, it just seems to betray an attitude of like we care about our users in so much as we want money from them, and everybody else, who cares? Like everybody else in the world, I don't care. But our users get apps to spend money on, and our users have headphones, so cool.
Yeah, it is definitely what they've done is arrogant, and I think that by including the adapter in the box, sadly they will mitigate most of the initial rage. I think when people actually buy the phone, that and listen, guys, I have to level with everybody. The new jet black finish is amazing. I love it. I want it in my life. It's so shiny.
It is shiny.
It is really shiny. Like it's gonna immediately scratch badly, but I still love it.
I feel like I'm kind of done with black phones though.
I don't like black phones that much. That one is different.
Since I got the gold 6P, the face feel, first of all, is just amazing. Second, I like it because it's gold on the back and black on the front. I don't like white fronted devices.
Agreed.
That's my own personal preference.
I still will probably get the lightning blue, or excuse me, wait, is it lightning blue?
I don't know, but either way, I might get that one. I might like just go for it and say, you know what, maybe I can live with a white fronted device this time.
I'm gonna live with it.
Maybe,
I just want the blue.
The blue looks really amazing, and I'm like seriously considering getting it. The blue sailfish.
Yes. So yeah, that's the iPhone. One thing that I think was interesting that not as many people talked about was the physical home button is gone on the iPhone now, and it's replaced with a Force Touch haptic feedback home button, kind of like the trackpad on the MacBook, essentially.
I have many various problems with the home button, just because I feel like it has outlived its potential, basically. Like, it serves so many functions using so many different kinds of input that A, it's hard to keep track of, and B, it precludes a cohesive system nav structure. Like, the way that system nav works now between apps is that almost everything in your status bar gets eaten up by a touch target that's not even as big as the minimum size that Apple recommends in its design guidelines. And that's how you get between apps. Whereas I feel like they have the knowledge and the ability and the resources to come up with something that's like a really good solution, and they just haven't. And that's why I don't like the home button. And I don't like that they just made it not a button instead of fixing the problem.
Yeah. So I also agree. The home button has definitely outlived its welcome, especially on iOS. It makes interactions unnecessarily cumbersome. But the change from a physical button that presses to a haptic button that is capacitive, I think will probably finally let Samsung kill the clicky button on its phones. They will almost certainly follow suit with this. If not in the Galaxy S8, then probably by the time the Note 8 comes out. They'll go there, I'm almost certain, because the only reason they do this is so when somebody walks into a retail store, a normal consumer who goes to a store and buys their phones, they see the Samsung phone. Oh, big friendly button on the bottom. I know what that does. That turns on the phone. And so it essentially lubricates that experience of using a Samsung Galaxy device. I wouldn't say that Samsung copies Apple so much as there are certain things it still does to minimize the friction of the Switch experience for people who don't really know anything about phones, and this is almost definitely one of them. There is no other logical reason for Samsung to have held onto the button for this long. So
Yes, when I had the Nexus 6, people tried to press the speaker thing as though it were a button. Not even joking.
I believe it. I absolutely believe it. And the thing with fingerprint scanners and home buttons or power buttons that are on the back is, well, that showrooms poorly because most people won't be able to find it. And the capacitive
And there's like
thing.
a big brick on the back.
Yep. So very, very key to Samsung's retail strategy, I think.
All right, we got more Samsung news to discuss, but before we get to that, I think we should probably give our time to the sponsor.
We should, and that would be a very good idea if I could find the file to do that. And let me just go ahead and okay, I think we're good. This week's Android Please podcast is brought to you. This week's Android Please podcast is brought to you by Linode. Linode has hosted AndroidPlease.com for over 6 years now. Not only are we very happy with their service, we're extremely proud to have them as a sponsor here on the show. And as part of our partnership, you, our listeners, can get a free $20 Linode service credit today just by signing up at linode.com/AndroidPlease. That's L-I-N as in no, O-D as in dog, E.com/AndroidPlease. That is a no strings attached $20 service credit that you can use today to get a server up and running. Now, what do you get for $20? Well, you could get 2 months of service on Linode's base tier, which gets you a server with 2 gigs of RAM, 1 CPU core, 24 gigs of storage, 2 terabytes of transfer capacity, 40 gigs per second communication inside the network, and 125 megabits per second out. If you need something more robust, well, Linode's got you covered. Their servers go all the way up to 120 gigabytes of RAM, 20 CPU cores, 1920 gigabytes of SSD storage, 20 terabytes of transfer capacity, and 10 gigabits per second outside the network communication speed. So Linode has pretty much anyone covered that needs a powerful server. So if you head to linode.com/AndroidPlease, you can check them out. They have add-on services you'd expect as well, backups, node balancers, and Longview, and basically everything you need to get a server up and running right now. So go ahead and check them out. And thanks again to Linode for sponsoring the show. Matt is muted.
Matt is not muted.
Well, he was.
All right, so thanks to Linode for sponsoring us this week. We're going to move on, as promised, to Samsung news. The Galaxy Note 7 has been recalled. Spontaneous fires are erupting everywhere. You need to hide your children, hide your wives, all of them, all of your wives. So this is a bad look for Samsung. So the Note 7 spontaneously catching on fire, total recall of all devices. I'm hearing that the FAA might actually ban these on flights.
They've issued now a strong suggestion that if you have a Note 7 that you turn it off during your flights, and please don't put it in your checked baggage.
This is something that will haunt Samsung for a long time.
And yet
I feel really bad about it.
Yeah. So it's definitely an issue, and especially with today, there are 2 stories today. One was that a firefighter plugged his Note 7 in the garage, went to pick up his kids from school, came home, house was on fire, burned down. That was an issue. And the other one was that a family was riding in their Jeep, and I guess the phone was plugged in, or maybe they left the phone plugged in the car or something, and then the Jeep caught on fire. The second one, you know what? Jeeps catch on fire. It's been known to happen. I'm not going to go ahead and pin that one on Samsung by default. That, and you have to admit, the national news coverage about this, come on. It is the most ripe for picking for an insurance scam. Without a doubt. People are looking at this going, so if I get one of those Note 7s, and I'm not liking my car too much anymore, or my house, and
or my restaurant.
Or my restaurant, who's going to question it? So I would be on the lookout for more stories about this. There's no reason to intrinsically take people at their word for catastrophic incidents resulting from alleged Note 7 fires. I do think, yeah, this is going to hurt Samsung real bad. Even if it comes out that these were, if any kind of incident was a fraud or an exaggeration, it won't matter because right now the damage is being done. Even though, admittedly, Samsung is doing everything in its power to try to fix it. I don't know what else they could even do. They stop sales. They're asking everybody to return their device, regardless of country, except China, because apparently it's a different battery supplier. So there's really nothing else they can do. And at the end of the day, you will always have a group of people who don't follow the recall. People don't follow recalls for airbags that could kill them. A lot of people aren't going to follow a recall for a phone. So we'll see what happens. I would not be surprised if we see a lot more stories about Note 7 fires, and some of them end up being categorically untrue.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be one of those things. Samsung like you said, they're doing it all right, and they're definitely not going to live this down for a long time. And for what it's worth, the recalls, while they're trying to make it as easy as possible, a lot of people just aren't hearing about it either. With all the coverage, it doesn't matter. A lot of people just ignore everything that isn't.
I've heard they're actually sending text messages to people now. They're going through serial numbers and IMEIs and just sending text messages. I mean, and what more can you honestly ask for from them? That's about as direct as you can get until you actually call people and leave voicemails, which maybe they'll get there.
I'm surprised there's not a way that they can just send push notifications through one of their apps to everybody.
I would not be surprised if
they've done that before.
Yeah, advertising.
Just every day, be like, "Why are you still using this phone? Why are you still using this phone?"
Danger, fire emoji, fire emoji, fire emoji.
This phone is going to explode. Please send it back to us.
For what it's worth, I haven't gotten any text messages about mine yet. And I've still got both of my, what I'm now going to call them, Nova 7s. I haven't heard anything from AT&T about it, but SIM card in them. So they might just be scanning for ones that are active and live on their network. I'm not really sure.
If there's no SIM cards in them, then that would make sense. Because I know that there was one SMS kind of thing they were doing. But yeah, I mean, probably on the ground, Samsung is doing a little less than maybe would make sense. But overall, the policy seems to be good. But yeah, as people are saying, there's no doubt that this is an absolute boon for Apple, especially right now. People are taking the phones back. A lot of carriers are just offering an outright ability to return device, no questions asked if you want to. Some carriers will let you switch to any other device, not without the extra cost, but without incurring a penalty, essentially, like Sprint is doing. So I'm sure Apple's going to sell a lot of iPhone 7 Pluses because of this whole incident. That, and they're saying it's going to cost Samsung, upwards of $1 billion apparently to get all these devices out of circulation, which is a pretty big chunk of change even for Samsung.
But just think how good 2017 could look by comparison.
And what's kind of sad about it is that it's Samsung's in-house brand batteries that are the ones that are having problems. The Samsung what's the company? Samsung Battery SDI or something? I'm not sure.
That's extra bad.
Yeah. And I think that the potential, the other potential reason is that the Note 7 is using a different type of battery than the S7, S7 Edge. And Note 7, I believe, God, I forget which one uses lithium ion and one uses lithium polymer, I think. And the polymer battery, I want to say, has better cycle life. And so that's why they put it in the Note. Allegedly. So I wonder if it was just a new model of battery, they hadn't made it before, and they took too much of a risk, or what the deal is. So yeah, it's bad news for Samsung. But What are you gonna do?
Actually, I didn't realize that it was their in-house batteries. Kind of gonna be doubly rough because Samsung batteries have a really good reputation in like rechargeable battery packs and stuff like that. So I kind of wonder if that business is going to suffer from this too.
I'm sure Samsung's battery business is going to be taking reduced orders because of this. I'm not sure how many batteries they sell to other vendors
Oh, a lot.
for lithium ion stuff,
Huge
but
number.
yeah.
I would just like to point out that if Samsung had just released this as the Note 6, they could have put a new battery in it and called it the Note 7, and then they would have just like completely saved brand.
It's a little
Yeah.
true.
All right, so moving on to product announcements. LG, the V20 is now official. Android 7.0 Nougat, the first phone to ship with Android 7.0 Nougat or not. It's official, so we've got that going for us.
Officially official. I have it. Hold on. Here it is. Here it is running Twitter. Here it is on home screen. It's a phone. It's basically so the G5 but less ugly and bigger and with slightly larger battery. Same Snapdragon 820, probably a slightly newer revision of the chip, granted. Very similar design on the back for the most part. Has a surprise robot look. Classic LG now. And on the front, it's actually much more symmetrical looking, I would argue, because the chins, the top and bottom metal bezel portions are the same size and color, so it just looks nicer. So far, I actually like it. It's got the same camera setup on the G5, which was easily the best thing about that phone, with the wide-angle lens and the narrow angle, not telephoto, but narrow angle lens, so you can do a sort of zoom effect, kind of like Apple's on the new iPhone 7 Plus, but jankier essentially. And so that's neat. The battery life so far, I had the first full day I used it. The battery life actually wasn't that good, but I spent most of that day on mobile data, and so that probably had a dramatic effect on it, and I did stream some music. Today, I've mostly been on Wi-Fi, in fact, exclusively on Wi-Fi, and the battery life is pretty decent. Granted, it's still not Note 7 good. It still feels very average. Better probably than last year's LG phones, better than a Nexus 6P, but that's a pretty low bar to meet. So we'll have to see. I have to use it more. This is a pre-production device I have. So there's some stuff around like certain bezels, like where the plastic meets the metal on the back. That's like, yeah, they could have done a little better on that. It's jagged and looks bad. So the final phones hopefully will look better. You can remove the back cover, which I won't really demonstrate on screen, but I will show you what it looks like without the rear cover. There's the battery in there. You can remove the battery. So if you were really, really hip on the removable battery thing, this is the phone for you. Obviously, the only phone for you, really, unless you want a G5, which nobody does. And then the whole modular thing is kaput. The LG 5's modules won't work with this phone. Not that, the one of two was released in America anyway, so it didn't really matter. LG says it'll still work with the standalone friends like the VR headset and the camera, but nobody cares. So the whole modular narrative seems to have kind of gone out the window with this, at least for now. I actually like the ticker display on it, though. I like the little secondary display because I can turn on the phone's flashlight without ever turning on the screen, which is nice. I know that some phones have a gesture for that. Doesn't Motorola? I think, where you can like chop the phone twice for the flashlight or something. I forget. But
Yes.
Sounds
Something like that. Yeah.
yeah, so
No idea what.
But anyway, I mean, overall, I actually like the little secondary ticker display. It shows you the date, the time, your notifications, kind of like Samsung's always-on display, and the battery level when the screen is off and when it's on. You can use it as a quick app launcher. You can use it as a shortcut for certain power toggles, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and then you use it for stupid stuff like just text you want to set up there, which is dumb. But overall, I think this is the phone that if LG is going to compete with the Boom Boom Explodey Time Note 7, this is the phone they needed to build to do that. I think. I don't really like the way the back of the phone looks, but that's not a huge deal. I will say that I'm kind of disappointed that with this huge media-centric device, which has manual video recording mode, which is cool. It's the only phone I know that has that. It even has level readouts, and you can stick in a pair of headphones to do monitoring while you're
Wait,
recording video.
headphones? You can plug in headphones?
Yeah, you can plug in headphones. It's incredible. They have this little jack. It's only 3.5 millimeters in diameter, and it delivers audio directly into your ears. It's incredible.
Don't they realize if they got rid of that, they could make their phone thinner?
They could make it thinner, except clearly they could add an extra 50 milliamp hours of battery capacity if they just removed that stupid headphone jack. I will say I think they missed an opportunity on the speaker. The speaker on this phone is fairly loud, but not crazy loud. And for something they're billing as like a content creator's device and a content consumer's device, man, you're not able to do stereo speakers at least, even if it's like the HTC 10 kind of stereo mode. I would have preferred to see that. The hi-fi quad DAC thing, if you really want to power some high impedance headphones with your smartphone, you will appreciate that. When you enable the hi-fi DAC, there's a toggle for it specifically. It definitely seems to bump up the amplifier power considerably. So it could also be good for when you plug into your car. So there could be practical use for that. As far as the audio quality with the hi-fi DAC, yeah, whatever. But there are some practical uses for the increased output. So far, I like it. We're not actually allowed to publish a full review yet, though, because it's a pre-production phone. They won't let us review it. We can just tell you stuff about it that isn't a review.
Yes.
So could you
Totally
just write a really long, like, categorical editorial about it?
Technically, I could.
Hands-on.
Yes.
Just really extensive hands-on with headers and tables and video samples.
LG V20 not review.
I would just like to say that I want to get one, and I just want to fill the top notification ticker with "You're good enough, you're smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like you." I need that extra motivation for my phone. All right, so we've got some other phones announced this week. Sony announced the Xperia XZ and Xperia X Compact. That was at IFA. So, anything anybody would care to say about those particular phones, other than that they're not going to buy them?
Yeah, no, nobody cares, unfortunately.
Well, we'll just say that we're not going to buy them then. Also, Motorola announced the Moto Z Play along with the True Zoom Moto Mod camera. So another module or accessory, and would like to call it. Do we know how ridiculously overpriced that's going to be yet?
Yes, $300. I think, right? And $249 if you get it in a Verizon store or something. I don't know.
Great.
So I've used the camera. I have it somewhere. Where is it? Not on my desk. I do have the camera. It's awful. Like, it is really, really bad. Like, imagine if you bought yourself like a point and shoot from Target like 10 years ago. That's this camera. The image quality is probably a little better, but the experience is the same. The zooming is super janky. The zoom motor is crazy loud, especially if you're recording video and you zoom in during the video. The capture speed is borderline comedic. You can get one photo every 1.5 seconds, maybe, and eventually the buffer does fill up. So,
and that's awful.
it is terrible. This is a blatant like luxury brand co-branding kind of thing where, you know, Motorola probably makes these for like maybe 80, $100 a pop, and then probably a good chunk goes to Hasselblad for putting their name on it, and then the rest goes to Lenovo. It sucks. It's a joke. And I like, there are a few things that I will say, few products I will say are totally irredeemable. This is totally irredeemable. It's a complete and utter farce. The Z Play, by comparison, actually seems like the best Z series phone Moto's released so far. You get the big battery from the Z Force without all the extra ruggedization that you may not want, and obviously then the Z Play or the Z Force's humongous price tag, which is a $750 phone. Whereas the Z Play is just around $400, which is pretty reasonable. I mean, granted, it's not going to win any specification wars. 1080p display, Snapdragon 625, which is essentially the die-shrunk version of the 617 with a newer GPU. So it's actually a decent chipset. It's much better than the 61X series chips. Much smoother. Graphics performance still sucks. But Motorola's tuned it very quickly, and the battery life, especially on standby, is like scary good. I have let that phone sit for like 5 days at a time, and it barely budges more than like 15%. It's kind of incredible. So that was actually a very, very cool, surprising part about that phone. And they made that chip feel fast. I don't know how it feels after you load up all your apps and use it for 2 weeks, because I just haven't had time to continuously use it. Ryan has spent more time with it, but he's on the show this week, so hopefully his review will be up soon. But overall, I like it. You get a decent camera. You get a pretty fast phone. You get a good 1080p display. You get excellent battery life. And so far, you know, I actually like it. I think it's a pretty good phone for the Z series. It has a headphone jack. Surprise. So
Okay,
that's good.
so
That's a valid point though, because the regular Moto Z does not, right?
It doesn't. Yeah. So neither the Z or the Z Force have a headphone jack.
So that's not strictly iPhone trolling. That is a legitimate point to be made. The Moto Z does not have a headphone. Moto Z Play does. It's got Play in the name, so you should be able to play music through a headphone jack. Makes sense to me.
I have a theory about the zoom accessory. Do you guys know about the Holga camera from like the
No.
80s? And it's like plastic, and the pictures turn out really bad, but people love it because the pictures are really bad and the effects are like really popular. Maybe that's the approach that Moto is taking. Maybe these problems with the zoom accessory are on purpose to build a cult following.
Ugh. The Snapchat of cameras.
It's just the 2016 Helga.
You're filling me with things.
Also, it is impossible to use the phone with that stupid thing attached. You can't. It's not even worth it.
Well, you should be using the camera, not the phone. Come on.
All right. So you know what? There was several wearable devices announced this week. I don't know how much time we want to spend going on them. We're running a little bit long already, but the Samsung released 2 Gear S3 variants. So we've got GPS and Samsung Pay, new there. Of course, ties in operating system. If you are into that kind of thing, it's around. Anything worth saying about that?
I don't think so. I mean, yeah, you've got 2 new Gear S3s, which, yeah, if you have a Samsung phone, they're great. They do work decently with regular Android phones now, too. But if you're buying a phone or a smartwatch for a regular Android device, you're probably buying an Android Wear watch. ZenWatch 3, it's round. Has Snapdragon 820 or Snapdragon 2100. Excuse me. Yeah, it's round. That's most of what there's said to be said about the ZenWatch 3. I don't think we have.
It looks
pricing.
marginally less. It looks marginally less steampunky in the official release than it did in the leak.
Yeah, definitely. And then finally, we've got the Q Wander and Q Marshall watches are finally got pricing and release dates. So those will be out on the 29th for $295. And then Michael Kors made available their watches, which start at $350 and are all tremendously ugly.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they're fashionable.
Fashionably ugly. Yeah.
They're fashionably ugly.
I cannot believe some people like the look of those watches. That I don't even if I were somebody who liked, designer watches, nothing about these is visually appealing. It's an ugly, it's just way too chunky. The way the lugs are it's like the lugs went to the gym too much. They're gigantic.
I will put these. So these are the These are the lugs that David is referring to. They are gigantic lugs.
Massive lugs.
Yeah, they remind me a little bit of the Watcher Bane,
But even bigger.
except the
LTE edition.
more over the top. The only thing that's kind of worse for him is the lines from the band at least go up to the watch face itself, and that kind of helps. It's better lines, but still, it's just too much.
You know what? I think we can safely say that these Michael Kors watches do not skip lug day. Oh, landed on complete silence. All right,
Yeah.
fine. I retract this pun. I was
Sorry,
going to make it the title of the episode, but okay, that's fine too.
I'm going to retract this pun. That, however, could be title.
It could. I'm just going to write that down then.
Sorry, I was quick research on Android One, and I came across a page that says the header says all the latest features from Android Lollipop, and then the body text below it says runs Android 6.0 Marshmallow and gets upgrades to the next version of Android soon after it's released.
Sweet.
Fantastic.
It has all the latest features of Lollipop, but it's running Marshmallow, in other words.
Well, it does have those features, does it not?
Well, depending. I mean, they might have changed some things between Lollipop and Marshmallow.
Wasn't something taken out? I'm almost certain there was.
I'm sure it was.
So that is false advertising.
Yes.
Damn it.
For the sake of drama, I'm going to say yes.
All right, so just to wrap up a little bit here, we did have some device announcements from Huawei, a couple of phones, and a tablet. Asus announced a new ZenPad tablet as well. Lenovo's got a Yoga Tab, and Amazon a new Fire HD. If you're interested in those devices, if they ring your bell in any way, shape, or form, head on over to the site, check those out. There. That all being said, I think we're going to probably skip over emails and the likes this week just because we're running a bit long, a lot to cover. Anything else you guys want to chat about before we wrap this one up?
I think that should... Well, I mean, okay. We put this on the spreadsheet. I guess. All right. So we can cover it on the site. And a bunch of you have tipped us about it. So, of course, we'll discuss it a little bit here. So, Evan Blass tweeted that Huawei was making a Google tablet that is 7 inches and has 4 gigabytes of RAM to be released by the end of the year. And that's pretty much the extent of the information we have. So Huawei apparently filed a trademark at the USPTO for the Huawei 7P way earlier this year. And but Huawei 7P wouldn't be the name of the product unless something really weird was going on. It would be Nexus 7P or Pixel 7P. So it's not clear what's happening there, if anything is happening there, or what's going on. So I have my 3 theories, and I will keep them very short. 1, this is a reference device or a consumer device for Project Tango. Could be. 2, because the Fab 2 Pro is too expensive. Like if you could do a $300 Tango tablet, that would make a lot more sense than a $550 phone, right? Or $450, whatever it costs. 2, it could be a Pixel 7 tablet, but we've not heard anything about that, which is very strange. It doesn't seem to be part of Google's big marketing plan for Pixel Day on October 4th, and maybe they'll release it later in the year and announce it separately. It could happen. Number 3, and this one is the one I've been kind of thinking about, and maybe it makes sense in the sense that Google does things that are aggravatingly nonsensical. Nexus isn't dead, and Google's just going to let basically whoever make a Nexus device if they work with Google, and it just won't be branded as a Google hardware, but Google supports software, kind of like a Google Play Edition sort of thing. So Huawei can make a Nexus, LG can make a Nexus, OnePlus could. They're not going to make a Nexus. Who am I kidding? But anybody could make a Nexus, and then Google will support the software, and maybe they'll do a little bit of co-work on the design. So maybe it is a new Nexus 7P, but I don't know. We just don't have enough information at this point to really say what's going on. It's very confusing in light of what we do know, but that's, I guess, not uncharacteristic for Google.
Well, yeah, there's so many weird possibilities for this. There could be a new program. This could be a weird, like, the last tail of the Nexus line. It could be so many weird things. I haven't really heard enough about it, but at the same time, going to the other end, even though we haven't heard really anything credible outside of what Evan said, I think it's a product that makes sense. So many people have been asking for this. A lot of people really want to see tablet, and the 2013 Nexus 7 is well past its date. So it makes sense. It's time to put out another one.
I guess. The 7-inch form factor feels inherently old to me. It's from a time when
7-inch
phones.
form factor.
Of course you do, Liam.
So
But
good for reading. Oh my god.
It's from a time before phones were as large as they are now. Back when phones were 4 to maybe 4.5 inches at the most, yeah, 7-inch device for a tablet, that made a lot more sense. But today, I feel even though people still want this, obviously, I'm not saying people don't want it. I'm saying it seems kind of deaf to the kind of changing shape of popular tablet sizes. I mean, Samsung doesn't even make does Samsung make a 7-inch tablet anymore? Maybe they do.
Samsung 7-inch tablet though.
And
People
8-inch, I know.
I guess that's not being fair because Samsung makes fucking everything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think their smallest is an 8-inch.
Yeah,
Or
I
like
think
18-inch square tablets.
Yes. So it just seems odd to me that they go with a 7-inch tablet for a Nexus device. I would think you'd want like 8 to 8.5. So yeah, because I would prefer that. That to me is more of getting near to the ideal portable tablet size. But I guess everybody's preferences differ.
Maybe the people
It's all about how
asking
you're using it.
phones that don't suck would also ask for a small tablet.
Yeah,
I would.
I guess.
It's one of the where I think 7-inch. I've held an iPad Mini, and I don't find it quite comfortable enough for like reading a book or something like that. I think the 7-inch screen size is just about right for that purpose, assuming it's made right.
I think a 7-inch tablet is a perfect solution for people whose large screen phones are catching on fire.
True.
Yeah.
As for whether this is a Nexus or a Pixel or something, I'll believe it when I see it, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it would be beyond frustrating if Google keeps around the Nexus name while also being like, we're not making Nexus phones anymore. They're Pixel phones now, guys. Oh, hey,
They're
Nexus.
just slowly, and also the last tablet was a Pixel, so it would be extra frustrating.
It really, really would. But yeah, that's maybe it's some kind of late development.
Yeah. Well, we keep throwing around the idea that maybe the Nexus name will live on as software and Pixel will be the hardware, something like that, And they internally, who knows what they're calling this stuff?
Yeah, I guess I don't know.
They might not even know.
Yeah. The more I think about it, the more depressed I become about how confusing it's probably going to be in reality if they do keep both of them alive, because that would just be so forced. But well, I guess we'll see. I mean, the other idea is that this is kind of a reincarnation of Android Silver, whereas Pixel is what Nexus wanted to be for so long, and then Nexus becomes what Google wanted to make with Google Play Edition, and then later with Android Silver that never launched. So yeah, maybe it's just another Google A/B test.
Oh,
Yeah.
Google. Your device
Yeah.
will only exist if you have the server-side switch.
Your device's existence is subject to a server-side switch. Yep.
And they can be turned back off. You bought it, it was delivered. Oh, crap, it's gone.
But it was
Man
only ever
is-
in beta, so
You've
So
left
tired
the
of that.
beta. Man is coming to take your phone away today.
This is a topic for another show, but
It is.
server-side things irritate me to an extent that's literally off the charts, as Tim Cook would say.
literally.
All right, I will add
Yeah.
that to the spreadsheet for next week. Server-side switch irritation is off the
Can I
charts.
just have like a section of the show where I just complain about things?
But we
that-
we
that
should
a thing?
start that as like a bonus episodes. You, me, and whoever else we got to get on, because
could call
one of my
Liam-
most upvoted comments ever on AP is one
Liam-
where I said I'm thinking about writing an editorial about how much I hate A/B tests.
We can call it
You
Liam's
suck.
Corner.
Liam's Lamentations.
Spelled with like a K and a backwards R, and it's written in crayon.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to about do it for our show this week. If you'd like to get a hold of us, you can email us at podcast@androidpolice.com. You can also give us a call at 530-HELLO-AP. That phone number still works. Voicemails can still come in. I promise. Do it. Try it. Call it. You'll find out. You'll be on the show. Almost guaranteed, except if we decide not to. Also, Twitter at Android Police and Google Plus and Facebook.
Okay, stop the recording and stop the broadcast now.